And Nixon Venus wife was. I've read probably like 3 Nixon biographies.
They're brownie heads.
I know. Why is he a son?
I'm unplugging your charger in your face. Well, that's what I was like, it's I don't see anything coming in. Yeah, thank you for that. No, I see. That's...
Sometimes you're right, but sometimes you're like, you're. I mean, I read this.
Test 1 2 3 4 5 6 7 8 9 10. Podium mic check 1 2 3 4 5 5 4 3 2 1.
Not yet.
Burrs.
This is
Or they would have been, they would have taken the general supply.
Turn to your left.
Yeah.
Thanks, brother.
you got it.
Is Sean Johnston available?
All right.
This is how the shoot. Unless you have a Legere or
John, can I trouble you to hold this for me? This white balance I still.
I'm just brushing up on my acting.
Yeah, you nailed it.
Yeah, you're a chair.
I've
Mission accomplished.
got a question for you. When you bring cars into you, you just do a job list, is there any charge for it? Or do you put it back into the cost of repair?
Thank you, sir.
Brian? Thoughts?
No, I'm saying, if you guys just diagnose a car, what do you charge?
Different. One of many in this room.
118
I think everybody's good. All right.
That's really going into
Thank you, kind sir.
Yes.
And now, if they say go ahead and fix it, and you do, you charge it, is that 118 separate from the cost of the labor?
Here.
I just was talking to you.
Good enough, I guess.
Every other Brian Harvey. Yeah, it's a star.
Pretty common for us like that.
Oh, not two.
I was surprised.
Surprise charge. What do you all charge per hour?
Yeah. I'm happy with 25. Forget the 45.
Ask a question.
Jump.
Oh, wait a minute. It's a C-SPAN place.
I was curious to see the
You never have to pee. It's only class 20 minutes. You never have to go to the bathroom. With Josh, you were always trapped.
Yeah. Some people were. 100%.
Josh would like to.
we go over on Grand Street all right, buddy. It's real common. Basically, it's an hour of labor for charging. Well, I mean, that would be completely different. Once they start to touch it, I mean, they're gonna diagnose it first. And then try to figure out which one. So they have people coming all the time. They sometimes use their homemade computer and say, it's an Air2 sensor. So they buy one and say, can you put this in? Because it was on the ground side, it was on the high side, what size is the Air2 sensor? They're like, wow. So don't try, they don't like that. When you try to bring parts in yourself.
I realize that. We didn't bring
No,
kids.
we're talking car. This tells me that's pretty common. Weigels are big competition now, because when they get pissed off, they go to Weigel and they just go Weigel or something else.
So that's the competition.
It's a local company.
My wife, you know what happened this Friday, called Stone Fair.
Yeah. Hello, how are you?
So I drove down from the
Yeah.
It's free. So we had it, so that guy too. My wife, so what happened with yellow thing? So white.
So is it till 4?
And I'm not taking it to the dealership. I'm not taking it to the dealership.
Yeah, thank you. Bye.
There's certain things you have to buy.
Oh, they're gonna set it up
Chemical
soon.
lines, things like that.
Hopefully.
Let
Oh, yeah, they'll punch it out.
me try it. I'm gonna try all this straight. Ask for my son. And tell him to do what I do. And don't get much of it. This guy. Always having tire specials.
That's exactly that.
But I do go to him. Everything because it's convenient.
Yeah, I can understand that.
And I call him up like the other day. We went down to North Carolina. So I
don't have deals. Why would I have deals? I don't have deals.
Shots in your mom's car, all 4 of them. Today. He goes, yeah, bring it up. So.
The band slows down.
The river said no. Next time you need help, I'm going to say no to you.
You okay, bud?
What's better?
Some of those members of the Isle Nation. Some of the members of the Isle Nation.
You know, I just hear like a nut. Bars,
You guys got to do You got 20 minutes.
I'm going to get from here to there and move in 20 minutes.
20 minutes.
I got 20 minutes to do
20
that.
minutes to think about it. Just think about it.
19 minutes to think. I'm not.
Just for a while.
you hear me talking on the handle? Pictures?
Yeah.
I see. All right. Sure. Okay. I'm still with you. I'm gonna walk back here. I mean, I have another briefing. Okay.
Is it?
Yes, sir. No. Yeah, take your time.
Usually go up and you shoot under me.
Okay.
Because I don't do the panic.
Because we don't have to.
You're not gonna pan your camera?
Can we put a question?
No, we're only here for our correspondence. We don't put correspondence, we call it correspondence. Try not to. Channel one is.
Wireless goes in one. Time to do this thing.
Oh, yeah, with the 18, yeah, we got homework.
Jay, this is your first day.
That's some crazy.
Is that on? Do you hear him or not?
No, I just hear it wrong. I don't hear anything.
You know what, I tell you what, it's probably not punched out.
It's not put it on the brief.
Okay, did you put a original 12 thing, two clients? Punch with the back?
That's on. Hold on.
Stay right there.
Who's down in the back here?
Oh, you're not down. They got a problem with this guy. I've been down every day in the morning.
Yeah, hopefully they'll, it is what it is.
All right, Mr. Prediction. What's the start, what's the schedule, start time?
Hey Eric, let me have some tone.
Select. Right.
Hey Eric,
Deliver 30, and Peter 247, and around 3.
Lined up.
you do? Okay. How about the wireless?
Oh, in that case,
Jay, you wanna talk to me?
come out here,
Yeah, tone is good. I'm just waiting for JJ.
You know, we used to do this with trailers here, we had to do it.
Right, mic check to you, Neil, mic check 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10.
Uh-oh. What is that?
1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10.
Wireless.
Your hand mic's up.
Hand mic's up.
You take that over? What'd you do with it?
You had it.
Oh, okay.
What is wrong with you?
Let me see that wireless.
Yeah, 1, 2, 3, 4.
Yeah.
Let me see it.
Alright, you
I don't know why I'm not
1, 2,
getting
3,
it.
4, 5.
Just get it. You see it, wait.
I'm probably doing something wrong.
Yeah, the mic up on top.
It doesn't matter. Whatever the wireless.
If the schedule starts at 10, well, if the schedule start time gets 1 to 2:30, then
Where's two?
just fine.
You drop the tone.
Hey, talk to me in the hand mic, Jay.
Yes.
Check 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10.
You must not have
10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1.
Hang on. Yeah, I'm not hearing anything on the IFB right now. 1, 2, 3. Check, 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 check.
That's the way it used to work. Yeah. Me and Trey, I can't remember who else.
I do. I got you. You sound good. All right, buddy. Thank you. Appreciate it.
Jay, you got tone up? He's on his phone. Jay!
So you're not gonna wash away yet?
No.
Oh my God, this weekend, like Friday, you know, maybe the kids are all like, okay, for something.
You get it?
Well, I'm telling you, Tom is everything. I'm telling you. You know, see if he's got tone up. I bet he does.
We're actually.
Bush.
Yeah, he and I did.
I said you probably don't know how to put tone.
So we'll see if this starts.
Well, I had tone before.
He had a more,
I literally had tone before.
but I still hold it here, just nobody thinks it's gonna start. Yeah.
I'm gonna say.
It's almost half sexual relationship.
Change cables.
I'm telling you, tone gets fed up. Mine was. I'll try the other kid. One was a knob in it.
Barack Obama was a lot.
Thank you, that would line level.
Hey, Craig. Forget it. Don't worry. This thing is.
Yeah.
We had this one.
You got it? You got it?
And he gave this.
You didn't have line level. That's what you did.
No, I did.
That's what you changed it.
No,
You didn't have line level.
I pushed it in hard.
Here's something.
Is that mic working?
Yep. Mic check. Everything's working. Everything's the first day with you two.
It'll get better from here.
Huh?
It'll get better from here.
Jay, thank you for coming. Call him up. Break the tone, Jay, and I'll talk to the mic.
Got it.
The Prime Minister is among us.
Okay. I'm trying. 1, 2, 3, hello, MSNBC.
So you know
Hello, MSNBC. Hey there, how you doing? Gotcha. Thank you.
I know she's done so.
I got an email from Kevin Ward. He's doing it right now.
So what, didn't we, he got it last week, right?
Yeah, but it's okay. It'll take him a day to get it built. We'll not be able to.
Wait, did he have?
You should read it.
Do you hear me? On channel 1? Alright, so please, thank you very much.
Glad to have you back.
Just with my name.
Yes. That's what I told you, that's what we were doing.
They have a Habibi next week.
Jay, are you okay or what? I'm not worried about you. Do you sleep? You take a nap? What's going on, man?
So I can't control it.
Have you checked in if they talk to you from New York? You should get rid of IMB.
So for you, sure.
No, don't put that one in. We'll go with Joe's. I'll go with yours.
Fun week of duty. I am not, are you? Oh, I thought you were going to Singapore.
pickup or? Yes.
Who's gonna go for you guys?
I just didn't want to go in the back where you might be sitting on it and be uncomfortable.
Who's gonna go?
And
Phil and maybe not tomorrow. I saw the president was responding that Maggie wasn't going. Isn't that strange? I think he does. That was one of the more strange off the record that I've ever read. Well, it gives you like a good mind of thinking, right? Like, he's not obsessed with me, thank you. Nah, it's not true. You might want to try it. You might want I didn't admit. I mean, you covered all these other lighthouses, and I think you would say that's totally different. But I was with this guy, like, you know, we covering you can't like swoop in off. You have that to like do it or not. Like, I really enjoyed the Fourth Estate documentary. I looked at it, I thought it was really good. No, I really did. I thought it was well captured. Filmmaker made it. Yeah. All right. Biased. That's what he wants.
Just remember, don't vandalize anything.
He sees this with a better fold than it. You guys had a good sleep over the weekend.
We should have another.
Going away and all of a sudden, do you get vacation plans?
Everybody else rush back. Everybody in the school will push back.
I've never been before. I've never been before.
No, we had a. We're betting.
Oh, that'll be work out.
That's when it starts, and the winner gets somebody else.
That's what I just heard.
That means 2:30. About Baker? When are you going to stop in France?
I just generally go like this.
When we're wrapping up.
all the time.
Hello there.
Okie dokie.
Between the hours of like 6 and 9 p.m. last night, she called me at 7 times. I'm trying to eat dinner. I'm back with friends talking dinner. I'm like, leave me alone. I'm cooking dinner too. Or is it, well, my dinner is not going to be involved 7 calls.
Like blank and then yeah, mine says no signal. It says no signal.
I thought Elizabeth came off great when they did. She like came off as like kind of a badass. They can fire me. Someone else can have this job. I don't want this job. Someone else can have this job. I'm actually surprised they showed as much of a plan as they did.
I haven't seen that.
One of the calls I think you asked why.
Yeah. She said it was my fault.
I was originally going to do it.
Isn't it working alphabetical? The next matter.
We know she's going to be ready. I think they may be my decision. How are you? Maybe we'll show
And then going somewhere else.
Jim is exactly how I feel. On your face.
It's funny.
Yeah.
It's going to be tough, Brooke, but I think I'll make a prediction here. I think that the expression you're going to hear in the next hour when he's reading his start next closer for the president's outside ability. I don't think Sarah Sanders is going to answer a lot of these questions, especially those questions about comments that she made last year when she was asked whether the president had dictated or had anything to do with his memo explaining the Donald Jr.'s meeting at Trump Tower.
Up there, you know you're getting video.
A few moments ago, but she and Jane Sekulow said the president did not dictate their memo. Now we know that is not the case. Of course, there are other legal questions that are going to come up at this briefing. The president could answer about one of those legal questions this morning, and that is whether he has the power to pardon himself. Will recall during the Nixon administration in 1974, before Richard Nixon resigned from office, justice department put out a memo that said that the president could not pardon himself. The president can't put himself around without being personally judged. President Trump tweeting otherwise. There's a legal team power to make the market.
Oh, that's ours.
Now, another question. I would never go that even if the president, and this is mutually honest characterization, not my characterization,
That'd be funny if she's like totally forgot. I don't know who's that one is. I don't know who that is. Just move us back there.
I think it's Jeff's. CBS.
Yeah. Oh, appreciate it.
About 3,000
Singapore State. Oh yeah, a couple of those are not good. Get in trouble. Okay. They don't let me in Singapore. I'd rather fly. Don't get flogged. I don't want you to get 50 lashes. When you got a pain, that wouldn't be a good story.
I know.
They pushed her back to 215. I went for a week at a beach. Where did you go? Numero Beach.
Oh, okay.
A couple hours ago, working. Are you gonna be on the day?
Yep. Yeah.
He says he's on one other project. New Jersey. Distinctly Trumpian I wonder when I'm going to start counting. Last year, he already gone, because he decided to only on that was in May. You struck me as a Jersey kind of guy. Life is fun. I feel like I it's not like we dropped the ball.
Okay.
Actually, some people did camp outside of the it was like a downplay and then pretty much after that, it rained a little bit.
Two players.
They are.
I'll make that tweet.
All right, folks, welcome. My name is Jen. I'm from Golden State Times, and Sarah Sanders is on her way to the press briefing room. I just want to take a second to thank everyone that has shared this stream on social media. You guys help out a lot. Also, thank you to all those who have smacked the like button. The thumbs up helps us a lot. It gives YouTube the notice that people are interacting with the live stream. Also, all of the shares and you guys on the chat. All that gives YouTube the inclination that it's trending and it's working. So it gets us onto the recommended pages. It sends out more notifications. So all of that interaction that you guys do helps out the channel so much. So if you haven't yet, please smack the like button. Also share this live stream and interact in the chat if you don't do it normally. That helps us out a lot. So thank you so much for that. So like I said, Sarah Sanders is coming out in just a few minutes. We're going to be uploading a whole bunch of news videos. There's a lot of news coming out today from the Supreme Court, from the Hill, from the White House, the Mueller investigation, all that stuff. The Inspector General report coming out June 11th. It was supposed to come out tomorrow, the 5th. Today is the 4th, right? Yeah. So it was supposed to come out tomorrow, the 5th, but it got pushed back until the 11th of June. So that is coming soon. So stay tuned here at Golden State Times on YouTube and on our website, goldenstatetimes.com. Again, that's goldenstatetimes.com. All right, folks, she'll be coming out in just a few minutes.
You move it. You move it. I got nowhere to sit. Push it against. Push it against.
Oh, okay, so that's like.
Oh, you when do you get there? You're gonna get there Sunday or you get there Monday? You're already a day ahead.
Sarah?
Oh, and he would not like that.
I found out that Scott Poole was trying to buy him out from his hotel. Did he want to give him a promotion? What do you think for the business?
Oh, yeah, law enforcement agency gives up if they're not being paid.
1 year. This evening,
You ever been to President of England?
it's the longest presidential era.
Most people die before they can become president. That's what I'm counting on. Oh, I'm you're I'll die before you.
What number she did that? He wouldn't take a picture with us.
Whatever you love. Second part. But I think I'm safe.
Who's the president?
He went to the school.
It went from no, there was it was a light.
How do you even build?
think we should get to the bottom. Whatever you do,
Well, I remember emailing Sir Murray.
Can you do that, Peter?
Sir Murray was like, no, he's going to.
She's a tolerant. She is a woman, sir. Yeah, they're looking at that. It's the material, the shop, it's the material.
Tobacco. The wacky tobacco. Her name was Wacky Tobacco. She was something. She gives enough money. You don't see her.
Yeah.
He survived. Throat cancer? No. That movie? Yeah. She's got to be. Her own.
2:15.
That's 2:15. 2:30. 2:30. Time to go to the dentist.
Possibly the clock video.
It didn't specify which time zone.
How many cabinet agencies does she have? Okay, now it's the best.
Was there a particular day that stood out?
That's the answer. I didn't do the comic much justice.
Steve, were you on the trip to Texas? Was it as surreal as it sounded? Oh yeah, you got the first interview. They brought you back. Vouch for everyone else.
If there's any sort of sense of like how it might smell, it smells the same. It smells weird. It was all of she said.
Yeah, there's like 3 stories.
She's up there on the list.
Remember he had that great cell phone? When they brought that
Sorry.
No, that was pretty. But he's a doctor, why couldn't he prescribe it?
Well, so I had this more time to do the job as a church. Ready. Yeah, she's so she spent the whole day. Yeah. I helped her that.
Oh, yeah. We had fun. I think about that. Davis City missile strike.
I was thinking of going Emirates through Dubai. It's kind of a surreal.
The Plantronics. Yes. I know. But you know, that's a lot. So it's he was like the mayor of the Tri-Cloud Alley back there. Yeah, and you know, that was gonna work. Yeah.
She's still coming out in prep. She promises we wouldn't touch them. That was Janet.
Okay, sounds good, let me know when.
He disagrees with that.
Yes, I did. I did hear you say that. Yeah, you're gonna redial it. You're gonna let me know when. You hear me? I did hear what you said, right? Sorry.
Good afternoon. Good afternoon. Today we are marking President Donald Trump's 500th day in office and his unprecedented success on behalf of all Americans at home and abroad. Since taking office, the president has strengthened American leadership, security, prosperity, and accountability. And as we saw from Friday's jobs report, our economy is stronger, Americans are optimistic, and business is booming. When the president predicted 3% economic growth, a number of economists didn't take him seriously, including President Obama's director of the National Economic Council and Moody's chief economist. The economy has now grown by 2.8% during the first 4 full quarters of this administration, and we believe we are well on our way to reaching the level of growth the president has predicted. The American people do not believe this strong economy is fantasy or unrealistic. Just as he promised, President Trump believes in the American people and is putting them first in every decision. On North Korea, we are actively preparing for the June 12th summit between the president and the North Korean leader. The advance team in Singapore is finalizing logistical preparations and will remain in place until the summit begins. In the DMZ, the U.S. ambassador's delegation continues diplomatic negotiations with the North Korean delegation. Discussions have been very positive and significant progress has been made. Lastly, and most importantly, and speaking of great accomplishments, today is my husband's birthday, so happy birthday, Brian, and for putting up with me for all of this time. And with that, I will take your questions. Jonathan.
Sir, just a short time ago, the president said that I have an absolute right to pardon myself. Why does he think that, and does he also agree with Rudy Giuliani, his lawyer, that a pardon for himself would be unthinkable and would lead to immediate impeachment?
Thankfully, the president hasn't done anything wrong and wouldn't have any need for a pardon.
But does he absolutely rule out doing that? I mean, does he rule out ever issuing a pardon for himself?
Once again, thankfully, the president hasn't done anything wrong and therefore wouldn't need one. Steve?
How does the president respond to this criticism from Republicans about his tariffs against the EU, Canada, and Mexico? How do you reassure these senators, the various people who are complaining about this?
Imposing the 232 tariffs protect the steel and aluminum industries because they're very critical to our national security. And for months, the United States has had discussions with Canada, Mexico, and the EU to find an alternative. Without an alternative solution, tariffs are the only measures appropriate to safeguard the country. We have strong relations with Mexico, Canada, and the EU, and will continue, and those will continue even though the tariffs are there. Again.
Sarah, what was the contents of the Kim Jong-un's letter to the president that he received last week? And what did the president take away from that? Is he more encouraged based on receiving that letter?
I'm not going to get into the specifics of the letter, but as the president said, they were interesting, and we feel like things are continuing to move forward, and good progress has been made, and we're continuing to prepare for the President's Summit. I can tell you the president has been receiving daily briefings on North Korea from his national security team, and I can also tell you the schedule for tentatively for that first meeting will be on June 12th at 9 a.m. Singapore time and take place June 11th, 9 p.m. East Coast time.
There's a separate report that Vladimir Putin has reached out to Kim Jong-un and wants to meet with him. Is that a meeting that the president think would be constructive to this process? Does the president support Vladimir Putin meeting with Kim Jong-un as well?
Our focus is on the president's meeting with Kim Jong-un, and the president will make his views known directly to him when we're in Singapore, and our focus will continue to be on denuclearization. Mara.
Sarah, why the president tweeted that the special counsel law was totally unconstitutional. If that's the case, why is he allowing his own Justice Department to abide by it?
Look, scholars have raised a number of questions about the legality of the special counsel process. The president's made his views about the special counsel very clear, and the president knows that the special counsel isn't needed because, once again, he hasn't done anything wrong. There was no obstruction, no collusion, and no wrongdoing. However, we continue to cooperate.
He's never said the law itself was unconstitutional. How can he allow his own Justice Department to participate in something that's unconstitutional?
Once again, I addressed this. The scholars have raised a number of questions on it, and the president's made his views clear. Francesca?
Thank you, Sarah. I did want to follow up on that and try and figure out what exactly the basis was for the president's claim that it is unconstitutional. But I wanted to ask you about something else as well. EPA Administrator Scott Pruitt has been accused of enlisting taxpayer-funded staffer to not only shop for apartments around Washington, D.C., but also to shop for a used mattress from the president's hotel just around the corner. And I wanted to know if any of that gives the president pause at this point or causes his confidence in Scott Pruitt to waver.
Certainly looking into the matter, I couldn't comment on the specifics of the furniture used in his apartment. John? And certainly would not attempt to. John, go ahead.
Dwell on that for a second and let it sink in.
I prefer not to, but go ahead.
You said that significant progress is being made in the diplomatic talks in the DMZ between U.S. and North Korean officials. The big question here is denuclearization. The president would like it to happen all at once. He said that before, but that it could also be a phased-in process. I know that the meeting has yet to take place, but certainly they're trying to iron out some details here. Does it look like it will be in all at once, or is the phase-in more likely?
Look, I'm not going to go ahead and predict a meeting that hasn't even taken place yet, and I can't get into the ongoing diplomatic talks, but I can tell you that they've been positive, and we're looking forward to the meeting in Singapore. Stephen?
No matter what you call it, is maximum pressure still the policy of the United States toward North Korea?
Our policy hasn't changed, and as the president stated, we have sanctions on. They're very powerful, and we would not take those sanctions off unless North Korea denuclearized. Peter?
So let me ask you if I can. Does the president believe that he is above the law?
Certainly not. The president hasn't done anything wrong.
The question isn't if he's done anything wrong. I guess the question is, does the president believe the framers envisioned a system where the president couldn't pardon himself, where the president could be above the law?
Certainly the Constitution very clearly lays out the law, and once again, the president hasn't done anything wrong, and we feel very comfortable in that front.
I know, but you just a moment ago said it's not that clear. So I guess simply put, does the president believe he is above the law?
Certainly no one is above the law. Vivian, go ahead.
If I can't follow, just because I have
Sorry,
a
no, I'm going to keep going right
I just want to ask you, this is an important one, because it's about, I'll just keep asking if I can.
Peter, no, you can actually.
Well,
go
actually,
ahead.
I'm going to, Sarah. I think this is important. and I haven't
I'm
had a
going to
chance to ask this
continue to
question.
move on.
Sarah,
Sarah, thanks.
Right here.
All right, thanks. Go ahead.
Sarah, what's the status of the tariffs on China? Does the administration still plan to move ahead with the June 15th deadline, as they stated?
President Trump is taking steps to continue to reform the dysfunctional trade system that currently harms American workers and businesses, and the president is taking steps to protect U.S. technology and intellectual property from China's discriminatory and burdensome trade practices. We're going to continue in those negotiations. As you know, I put out a statement earlier this morning that those conversations continue. Brian, we're going to keep moving. Go ahead, Brian.
Two quick questions. One, I've asked this before, is there any chance we could ever see the president come out here and take some questions from us in this briefing room? And secondly, has anyone in this administration ever asked the president? Last week you had on your agenda, an agenda where you had lower jobs coming out, lower unemployment coming out, and you also had the Second Chance Act, I think it was. And instead of those, we had to respond to presidential tweets. Has anybody ever in this administration asked him to back away from Twitter just for a day?
On the first question, certainly you guys would be the first to know if the president comes out here, but thankfully he does address the press in a number of ways and in a number of venues, and we'll see if it happens here, and we'll certainly let you know. In terms of Twitter, the president uses Twitter to communicate directly to the American people. Frankly, you have the ability to choose what you want to write about, and you guys choose to write about things that the American people don't care about day in and day out, and that's a decision that you make, and frankly I think it's the wrong one. Jordan, go ahead.
We don't have the opportunity to ask him a question about that though, Sarah. Can we at least get an opportunity to ask him a question about what he tweets?
Thanks, Sarah. I want to ask you about the lawyer's letter to the special counsel. You said last August that the president did not dictate the statement about the Trump Tower meeting during the campaign, but the lawyers wrote to the special counsel that the president did dictate that statement. What's the reason for that discrepancy?
Like you said, this is from a letter from the outside counsel, and I direct you to them to answer that question. Deborah? Once again, you're referencing a letter that came directly from outside counsel, and I would refer you to them to answer that question. Deborah?
After Kim Kardashian's visit, thanks, Sarah, is President Trump considering a commutation for Alice Johnson, who already has served 21 years of a life without parole sentence?
The president's considering a number of different pardons and commutations, and when we have an announcement on that, we'll certainly let you guys know. John?
Thanks a lot, Sarah. Since Robert Mueller was named the special counsel over a year ago, the president's team, his legal team, the Justice Department has never challenged the constitutionality of the special counsel. And yet the president today is doing just that. Why hasn't either the Justice Department or the president's legal team challenged the constitutionality? They have the right to do so in federal court, and yet they haven't done so.
Again, scholars have raised a number of questions about the legality.
But specifically, those two entities have not done it. The president's own lawyers have not done it, Sarah, and they can do so.
You would have to ask them. I'm not here to speak on behalf of the outside counsel.
What about the Justice Department? Can you speak on behalf of the Justice
I would
Department?
refer you to the Justice Department. They have a pretty large comms team. They'd be happy to answer those questions. Steve?
Sarah, I'm wondering if the White House stands by the comments that were made by the U.S. ambassador to Germany, who said that he was backing anti-establishment conservatives to take power in Europe. Seems like a very unusual thing for a U.S. diplomat to say towards friendly countries.
I don't have any updates on that front at this point. Blake?
Let me ask you, turn your attention back to trade for the farmers out there who care less about the politics, who have to run a business every day. There was a farmer in Iowa who told one of our crews out there this morning, he said, it's hard to know which way to jump right now. As in, they don't know what decisions they should make for their businesses because of what is playing out here in Washington, here in China, NAFTA negotiations as well. What would you tell those folks out there who are trying to run these businesses, who are trying to make a decision on which way to jump right now?
Certainly, the president is trying to do everything he can to protect American farmers, American businesses, and he is negotiating with a number of countries, but also the president wants to make sure that we're ending unfair trade practices. The president has said that he wants to help protect farmers, and we're looking at a number of different ways to do that, and we're going to continue that throughout this process. Peter? Sorry, Blake, I'm going to keep going. Peter?
Sorry, Sarah, I just want to come back. In August, you said he certainly didn't dictate
the statement. I wonder if you could tell us the basis of your comment when you made that in August, and do you think that still stands? Is that still operative statement, or do you retract that?
Once again, this is a reference back to a letter from the outside counsel. I understand, but it's also pertaining to a letter from the president's outside counsel, and therefore I can't answer, and I would direct you to them.
What was your basis for saying it in August, though?
Once again, I'm not going to get into a back and forth, and I would encourage you to reach out to the outside counsel.
Sir, Rudy Giuliani, the president's outside lawyer, said to the Huffington Post, in no case can he be subpoenaed or indicted. I don't know how you can indict while he's in office, no matter what it is. If he shot James Comey, he'd be impeached the next day. Impeach him, and then you can do whatever you want to him. Is that appropriate language coming from the president's outside lawyer to be talking about the president shooting Jim Comey in that fashion?
You would have to ask Rudy Giuliani about his specific comments, but thankfully the president hasn't done anything wrong, and so we feel very comfortable in that. Josh,
Sir,
go ahead, Josh.
If I could ask a follow-up
Sorry,
question.
I'm gonna keep going.
If I could
Josh,
ask a follow-up
go
question.
ahead.
Who are these?
Not today, Jim.
Well,
Go ahead,
others
Josh.
have had follow-up questions. Sir,
They
if I
haven't
could ask-
actually. Go ahead, Josh.
They have had follow-up questions. If I could ask who these legal
Sir,
scholars are that you are
I'm going to
citing,
direct
that
the
would be
question
great.
to Josh. Go ahead.
If you're saying for one thing from the podium that it wasn't dictated by the president, and his lawyers are saying something entirely different, contradicting, how are we supposed to know what to believe? How can we believe what you're saying from the podium if his lawyers are saying it's entirely inaccurate?
Once again, I can't comment on a letter from the president's outside counsel. I direct you to them to answer it. John?
Sarah, the words are literally, you said he did not dictate. The lawyers said he did. What is it?
I'm
Has
not
he
going to
ordered the
respond to a letter from the president's outside counsel. We've purposely walled off, and I would refer you to them for comment. John?
Thank you, Sarah. Question about pardons. 11 days ago, the president issued the posthumous pardon for boxing great Jack Johnson. The leading proponents of this for more than a decade have been Congressman Pete King in the House and Senator John McCain in the Senate, both big boxing fans. Senator McCain tweeted his support for the pardon. Will the president use this opportunity to call Senator McCain and try and patch things up with him at this moment in his life?
I'm not aware of a scheduled call, so I wouldn't want to get ahead of that. Sorry, Philip?
Sarah, thank you. I just want to check something with you. What in the tariffs that were imposed against Canada reinforced the U.S. national security?
I'm sorry, what was the last part of the question?
You know, the tariffs that were imposed against Canada, aluminum and steel, what in that reinforced the U.S. national security? In what form the U.S. feels more secure now that Canada has been targeted by tariffs?
The president feels strongly that the steel and aluminum industries are critical to our national security and our ability to protect ourselves. And that would be that reference point in the 232. Hallie?
Sarah, thanks. The special counsel didn't seem so unconstitutional when the president was calling on one to investigate his political opponent during the campaign. So is it only unconstitutional if the president doesn't like it?
Once again, the president's made his views on this point clear. I don't have anything else to add. Jennifer?
About the constitutionality of it,
Question for you, Sarah. Thank you. The president on Friday said that he's open to bilateral deals with Mexico and Canada. Is he still leaning towards bilateral deals as he heads up to Canada at the end of this week, or is he still thinking, or is he thinking that he'd like to save NAFTA and just renegotiate?
As the president said, he's open to it, but we're in ongoing negotiations. Right here.
Thanks, Sarah. Last week, Missouri Governor Creighton stepped down. Did President Trump or anyone at the White House ever reach out to encourage him to step down?
I'm not aware of any conversations directly with the president or with anyone here at the White House.
So why not, considering he's the leader of the party?
Certainly, we were aware of the issue and felt that this was a decision to be made by the people of Missouri and a local issue. April?
Sarah just said the president hasn't done anything wrong and wouldn't need a pardon, but he said in his tweet that he has the absolute right to pardon himself.
Hasn't done anything wrong.
But he said in his tweet that he pardoned himself, so it seems to be an assumption that that Mueller will find him wrong for something, and if so, what would it be?
It seems like it would be a completely wrong assumption. The president hasn't done anything wrong. I'm not sure how else I can answer that question.
Two questions on the Justice Department and pardons. For example, the Office of Legal Counsel has said that the president can't actually pardon himself. Does the president request a new opinion that may inform his tweet today? And also, there are some concerns about whether the president is still fielding those traditional pardon recommendations from the Justice Department. some people are concerned that instead of relying on the Justice Department, he's relying on sort of rich and famous people to recommend pardons.
The president looks at each case individually to see if something wrong has been done or whether mercy should be given. That's what he's done, and that's what he'll continue to do in the future. He has the authority to make that decision and has.
Has he asked for a new OLC opinion? I'm sorry? Has he asked for a new OLC opinion on the pardon power?
I'm not aware of an ask or a recommendation, but certainly would reiterate the fact that the president hasn't done anything wrong.
Thank you. What does the president think is his top foreign policy achievement in the first 500 days?
I think that there have been a number of major foreign policy achievements. Certainly, I think the strengthening of relationships with a number of foreign leaders. I think that the conversation that we're looking forward to having here in the next couple of weeks is certainly a step in the right direction. Moving the embassy in Israel would certainly be on that list, being tough on Russia, being tough on trade, and making sure that countries that have engaged in unfair trade practices are held accountable. Those are just a few, but certainly I think the list is quite lengthy, and we'd be happy to provide some more details. Sarah,
can you give us a little bit more background on the pardon process? Is there a process in place at this White House to review pardons? And how did the pardon ideas of Rod Blagojevich and Martha Stewart come up? Is it simply a matter of who can gain the president's ear in order to get a pardon process? Or is there an attorney here in the White House through which these requests are funneled through, which eventually make their way up to the president?
Certainly there are a number of attorneys here at the White House, and they review these matters, but ultimately the president looks at each of these cases individually and makes that decision as he has the right to do so. Take one last question. Eamon?
Thank you, Sarah. I wanted to ask you about the president's call today with Theresa May, the Prime Minister of Great Britain, who said that the president's tariffs on the EU were, quote, unjustified and deeply disappointing, according to the British readout of their phone call today. That's what she said to the president. How did the president respond to that?
The president feels very confident in his decision and will continue to make sure that the unfair trade practices that have gone on for decades do not continue, and that he's protecting the interest of American workers and American businesses. Thanks, guys. We'll see you tomorrow.
All right, folks, thank you very much for joining us and choosing us as your stream of choice. We apologize for the little hiccup that we had in between there. Not a lot of Patriots left the stream. If you stayed, even though the little hiccup came through, thank you very much for sticking with us here at Golden State Times. If you are new to our channel, make sure you guys subscribe. We welcome you to the family. Also, make sure that the notification bell is on. Right now, we're actively working with YouTube to try to get sponsorships on the channel. So there will be a sponsor button, and there will also be a subscribe button. And if you're sponsored to the channel, you'll get like special perks and emoticons and emojis and stuff like that. So that is in the pipeline right now. We're trying to work with YouTube, trying to get qualified for it. They said that they're going to get back to us within 24 to 48 hours. So stay tuned for that. We hope that that happens in the next few days. So yeah, folks, thank you very much for coming out and choosing us as your stream of choice. Please don't forget to smack the like button. And also thank you to the moderators for coming out and keeping the chat clean and enjoyable for everyone. You guys do an amazing job, and we'd like to thank you very much. Also, make sure to stay tuned here at Golden State Times. We're going to be uploading a few news videos here on the channel, and we're going to be publishing a bunch of news stories on our website at goldenstatetimes.com. Again, that's goldenstatetimes.com. So make sure you guys go and check it out and bookmark the website. We're trying to grow our website on goldenstatetimes.com. So make sure you guys go and check it out. You guys share it. You guys bookmark it. And also make sure to sign up to our newsletter that is sent to you every single day, twice a day. Packed full of news, articles, videos, and stuff like that. It's free, and you can go on our website, goldenstatetimes.com, and sign up. Thank you so much, and I'll see you soon. Peace.